Welcome to Veggies and Herbs. I'm Ruben Molale. Now it is July and it is the middle of winter, but the garden is still going strong in the middle of winter here in South Africa. We are fortunate to have a lovely, mild winter, so we are able to grow through the winter season. So in today's video, I'm excited to share with you what I'm planting and what I'm sowing. I will also be sharing the strategies that I'm using to protect my brassicas from pests. So I will be sharing how I'm using trap crops, companion planting, and also how to make a yeast-based slug trap at home. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Now first on the list will be the leafy greens. They are definitely one of the easiest crops to grow during winter. They love the cool season. And this year I've been growing baby spinach, Swiss chard, and kale. Now in a container, my baby spinach is still going strong. I planted some there in this container and it's growing beautifully. So definitely there's still an opportunity for you to plant some of these leafy greens. You can even include pak choy and lettuce if you like. But these are the leafy greens that I am planting in my garden. I've also been planting carrots. I managed to thin out some of the carrots that I've also planted in my no-dig garden. So carrots is definitely one of the crops that you can still plant in July. The ones that I've interplanted or sown with radishes also germinated quite nicely. I will also just go ahead and harvest some of the radishes that I've also been growing in the side of my garden. So I will just allow these carrots to keep on growing. We harvested some beetroot last month, and this month is still an opportune time to also plant beetroot. Last month I also tried parsnips. Since they're taking so long to germinate, they take up to 25 to 30 days to germinate. So I've been monitoring their growth indoors, but I am looking forward to see how that project will go. So let us know in the comments, what root crops are you growing this month? Now brassicas are my favorite. They are the winter favorite, and I've been planting some brassicas throughout this winter season. I've been planting some cabbages. They're coming along quite nicely. Also planted some cauliflower. Now I'm excited this month because the broccoli that I transplanted, I think in April, my first batch is ready for harvest. So I will just go ahead and harvest these broccolis. I think they look absolutely beautiful. And so this month I will be harvesting these two broccolis. And that is the plan with succession planting, that you plant every month, and that will enable you to not harvest a big batch of items that can go to waste. So I'm just happy that this month we will be harvesting these broccolis, and others that I planted in previous months, I will allow them to grow on. And hopefully maybe next month I will be able to harvest additional broccolis as the time and the months progresses. Now last year my brassicas were hit hard by aphids, the cabbage caterpillar, and the biggest offenders were the snails. So this year I'm trying something different. I will be trying to use trap cropping and companion planting to protect my brassicas. Now a trap crop is a plant that you grow intentionally to divert pests away from your main crop. So the trap crop will be sacrificed, and then your main crop will then have a chance to survive. Now in this bed I will be growing all my brassicas, so I planted some broccoli, cauliflower, and some cabbage. Now in the corners of my raised bed I'll be planting some nasturtium, which is a brilliant trap crop that can draw the aphids and the cabbage moths away from the main crop. Now if you do not have nasturtium, you can always use Chinese cabbage or mustard greens, which will work just as well to lure aphids away from your plant. Now for the slugs, I also will be sowing these baby spinach just on the inner parts of this raised bed. So spinach is a quick growing crop, and the juicy leaf of the spinach will be a great way to lure slugs away from the main crop. Now for companion planting, I will be using some herbs like parsley, sage, and thyme. And I'm hoping that aromatic herbs will help to attract beneficial insects and also at the same time repel some of the pests we do not want to hang around in the garden. So I'll just be interplanting onion sets with the rest of my brassicas. And I'm hoping that the strong scents of the onions will help to deter the pests like the aphids and the caterpillars. Now, in addition to the herbs, I'm also planning to plant out some marigold around the borders of my garden. Now, marigold is not only good for the beautiful splash of color that it will bring into the garden, but it can also play a role of repelling some aphids and some other pests. So I'll also be just ensuring that I include some marigold around the borders of my raised bed. Now, finally, I would like to shout out Grow Out of the Box for sharing a budget-friendly, homemade slug trap. So for this slug trap, you just need 1 teaspoon of yeast, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then a cup of warm water. You can then mix these items together in a cup and let this mixture sit for 10 to 15 minutes. So what will happen, this will allow the sugar and the yeast to activate. After it has activated, you can then transfer this into a container, an old yogurt cup, and then you can bury it in your garden. So you can just make sure that the rim is level with the ground, and you can pour some of the yeast mixture, and the fermented smell will then attract the slugs, and hopefully they will be able to drown in this container. So I've seen that many gardeners use beer. I think this is a much affordable option to go about making a home trap. Beer sounds a little bit expensive, to make a continuous concoction or mixture to use as a trap. But I want to see how this will actually work in my garden. So slugs and snails, they are normally operational at night. So it's important to, when you set up this trap, to put it up in the late afternoon. Make sure that every 2 to 3 days you check it and remove it out of your garden and put a fresh batch in if there is an influx, a high presence of slugs and snails. If you have any additional ideas on how to deal with pests, please let us know in the comments so that we know how to deal with these items. Yeah, now let's move on and also talk about the alliums and how they are going. So now that I've harvested the sweet potatoes on my raised bed, I'll put a link of the video up here. I will also be planting the onion sets in this section of my garden. Now, if you remember last month, I started them indoors to give them a head start. They sprouted quite nicely, and it's a perfect time for me now to actually plant these onion sets in my garden. So I also will be interplanting it with some other brassicas, some cabbages. So the idea of this section of the garden is to interplant stuff and let them just go wild. Yeah. So the shallots, they are growing on nicely. But this month, when it comes to alliums, I am planting the onion sets. When it comes to the garlic, I will just continue to treat them with copper soap to avoid it from getting affected with garlic rust. Now, when it comes to the legumes, the ones that I've started earlier in the season, winter season, are growing quite nicely. The Aragon varieties, you can see here, they are starting to form flowers. They're growing nicely. The ones that I planted last month, they also started to germinate. Now on this side, we have broad beans. They are growing quite well. I'm totally happy with the way they are growing. And when it comes to the tubers, we planted some potatoes last month. They have sprouted. I will just be heaping them up every month to ensure that we increase the yield. So everything is going in full swing, and I'm excited with how things are going. Now, please let us know in the comments what you are growing. If you have any tips, feel free to leave it in the comments so that we can continue to grow together. But thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to see you in the next one. Keep on sowing and growing. Peace.